In this episode, we switch sides again and join the Dark Army, crash a wedding, and then hang out in Orlando's apartment. And it is trippy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Josh Strife Hayes, and this is episode 9 of our super strange journey through the Otherland MMO. Before we begin, please consider dropping a like on the video or subscribing to the channel for more MMO stuff. Ring the bell so you don't miss a single future episode. As usual, a very big thank you to this almost 100 strong list of Patreon supporters, and my small army of Twitch subs who make this channel possible. More on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. With the Zombie Uprising over at the Mausoleum mostly quelled, we move on to Queen's Lynn, a very on-fire village, but as I discover, standing directly in fire doesn't actually hurt you. Our first task is to kill 15 zombies, so I get right on with that, and once they are mopped up, we have a lovely chit-chat with this White Army archer. She asks us to gather some wood from around the place and build a barricade to stop the zombies reaching the village. Sure, Miss Archer, I happen to be quite good at picking up random bits of junk because I've had to do it quite a few times so far. Also, just a personal opinion, the village is on fire and most of the people are dead. Maybe a barricade is too little too late. The one saving grace of this collect wood mission is how beautiful this autumnal forest is. Golden oranges and fiery reds and light rays filtering through the... Oh, look, it's a pile of floating logs. Wow, I've not seen you since Life is Feudal. It's nice to know you found a new home in a game that still hasn't shut down. It's amazing that out of the two games, Life is Feudal and Otherland, Life is Feudal, the one voiced by Sean Bean, is dead. We bring the wood back and build some barricades by the village entrance. However, the barricade is rubbish. It's got an opening right in the middle. This wouldn't actually stop anything coming in. But oh, while I'm here, let's examine this. Oh, this is awesome. A red light bridge spanning a giant chasm with imposing soldier statues rising either side. I do hope I get to come back here because this is pretty epic. We go and let the White Archer know the completely useless barricade is ready, and now she wants 15 weapons collected, either from zombies or from the floor, or, as I discover, just pulled out of dead villager bodies, which is brutal, but also quite a nice touch. Hand 15 back and then get sent to talk to the local student alchemist. Apparently, he has a solution to the village's defences. The dude says he can make a strong potion called Alchemist's Fire, but he'll need some ingredients, so sends me on a gathering quest. But before I set off, I notice his shop sign is written in binary, and from what I can make out, it's 1010 01110 1001. So I stick this string into a few binary converters and they all give me the same result. Not a word, but a symbol. This symbol, which is apparently known as the section sign. I don't know if this is relevant or if these are just random ones and zeros that were typed and this happened to be a real thing, but cool, this is the section sign shop. The thrilling alchemist gathering quest needs me to gather 10 fire flowers. Watch as I heroically gather them. And next, 10 bits of sulphur, which conveniently seem to be placed on a nearby mountain. Watch as I heroically collect them. And finally, 10 bits of gold. Watch as I... Oh, actually, this is a pretty cool place. Look at this. It's a golden wireframe church on top of a hill, with a bishop NPC watching over it. And all the gold is stored in these little treasure chests. Watch as I heroically open 10 of them. If you're making an MMO, or you specifically said this questline had to be gathering so many things, I need you to understand repeated actions with no chance of failure is not thrilling gameplay. And right now, you should be going for thrilling gameplay because the village is on fire. Also, I've leveled up a bit, so I find this shop and pick up some new skills. One lets me knock down a whole group of enemies AoE style. Hopefully it'll be a useful interrupt. We'll test that later. With all the ingredients gathered and the alchemist's fire made, I place these dangerous potions at the barrier I made earlier. So if any zombies approach, we can blow up the barrier we just made. Oh, absolute defensive genius going on here. Akiri, that's the White Archer from earlier, now wants us to escort her closer to the Red Castle, and this means we get to run across the giant red bridge. I am genuinely so happy we get to come back here on a mission because this scenery is just terrific. But we do get a little too close to the Red Castle and end up being attacked by red soldiers, and in a really nice twist, The soldiers actually summon their friends, but only if you don't kill them in a certain order. Other mobs get summoned, and if you fight them in a certain place, they get debuffs added to them. And if you use stuns to prevent them from doing this attack, then no, I'm just messing with you. You just fight 3 waves, same as every other ambush. There is nothing new here. We keep moving up the path and reach a village at the base of the Red Castle. Seriously, that castle is imposing, but the village has fallen to zombies, and this is on fire as well. So in a feeble attempt to save it, we kill 15 zombies. Look, honestly, at this point, just cut your losses and build a new village somewhere else. After killing 15, Akiri and I have become quite close because we've been working together for about an hour now, and she asks me to head back to Queen's Lynn, saying she has a bad feeling something is about to happen. So with that massive dollop of foreshadowing, we run back across this kick-ass bridge. On the other side, waiting for us, is a small company of Dark Army soldiers, so we have a chat with this knight, and they say the Dark Army King has been watching us and wants to talk. Oh, I wonder where this will take us, maybe to the heart of the Dark Army castle? Maybe they've got a cool airship or an underground base. Oh, you know what would be really awesome? Maybe they're located inside one of the floating chess pieces. Oh, that would be so awesome. No, he is standing in a field, out in the open, by a burning building. He is the king and he just hangs out in a field. We chat and he decides to test us with an ambush to see if we can really fight, which does give me a chance to test the knockdown ability, and it actually works really well. Now we've proven ourselves, the Dark Army King asks us to join him. And of course I say yes. Except wait, no, I can't say yes because there's no yes option. Another choice that's not actually a choice. So we say no, and the king says, that's a shame because he's captured the White Army Queen, and unless we do what he says and join him, he'll kill the Queen, and this will cause everything else to die. That's not how chess works. That's not how any of this works. Why would killing a queen cause the army to stop? I mean, the king's already dead, and they're still going. So the game now forces us to join the Dark Army anyway, something I would have said yes to 5 minutes ago. And our first mission is to kill 15 White Army pawns, people that up until recently I was violently defending from zombies. I swear, we change sides back and forth like a metronome. 15 pawns dead, and now we are told we have to kill a rather troublesome white scout. That's mean. We have to go and kill Akiri, the white archer we'd been fighting alongside only moments ago. When we catch up to her, she is rightfully pissed that we slaughtered her entire squad of soldiers and says next time she sees us, she'll kill us, although we don't actually fight. I guess we do have some humanity left after all. The Dark King now gives us a potion that resurrects the dead and turns them into Dark Army soldiers, so we go around pouring anti-undead juice on the corpses until we have refilled the ranks, and now the king says, good work, but we can do better. Go and pour that potion on 10 local zombies and see if we can turn them into Dark Army soldiers too. So I run up the mountain and sprinkle a few drops of Dark Army juice all over the zombie population, and before you know it, we've got a lovely fresh crop of Dark Army soldiers. The mission does take a while though, because sometimes it just doesn't work. You know how this game is. Sometimes they just don't do what they're meant to do. The Dark Army King is now standing down by a river and invites us to step through the nearby portal and visit the Red Castle, while also sharing his evil plan with us. He intends to marry the Red Queen and combine the might of the Red Army and the Dark Army together to rule not only 8 squared, but eventually march on the other simulations. And his wedding gift to the Red Queen is the captured White Queen. There's just one issue when we get here though. The Dark Army King has captured someone who might be a bit of an issue, a thorn in his side, a powerful simulation traveller, a young man called Orlando. And he needs us to kill Orlando. Well, Mr. Orlando, it's nice to finally meet you after so long trying to find you. Sorry it's under these circumstances, but I guess we must fight. Which goes as expected. I win. But he's not dead, only hurt, and we can now talk to him and explain our plan to find and rescue him. Honestly, plot writers, what was the point of this battle? We're not mind-controlled. The Dark King doesn't have dominion over me. I could have just not fought Orlando and said, oh hey, I'm on your side, let's team up. This part honestly feels like the script writers just really wanted a fight with Orlando and they would do anything to just shoehorn it in. This set of events makes no sense. Orlando says he is weakened, but if we borrow some of his code, we can use it to transmit our current location within the Otherland network to the other admins, and they will bring the cavalry. So we do this, and cutscene. We bring the admins, the Dark King brings back fan favourites Mud and Finn, we fight, and of course we win. And now we go to deactivate the security prison dome and help Orlando up. He tells us to go and help the captured White Queen. She is right next to us and talks in a far, far too formal way, using very long, complex words. I mean, good lord, my videos are wordy, but damn, someone clearly had the thesaurus out while writing this dialogue. We're told the White Queen will be escorted back to the White Castle, and we should go and see if we can stop the wedding of the Dark King and the Red Queen. This means meeting up with Orlando a short distance away from the prison and planning a sneak attack on the Red Castle. Orlando's plan is simple. A direct assault on the front of the castle won't work, so we should try and find a super sneaky way instead. So we go to scout out the local area. We happen to find a giant cave under the castle around the side. We report this back, and yes, this is perfect. Now he says we just need a disguise. The plan now becomes this. There's a local research caravan that was headed to the Red Castle. It was guarded by Red Army soldiers, but clearly the caravan, after gathering their party and venturing forth, got waylaid by enemies and must defend themselves. So we kill the Red Guards that remain and steal their uniforms. This is the first time a quest in this game has used the disguise menu, which is a system of cosmetic overrides. We put on the Red Army disguises and change our armour to look like them, and yes, yeah, I can see it. Absolute spitting image. Almost identical to a Red Army soldier, like two peas in a pod. We look completely and exactly alike. No one would ever notice I was not one of them. We chat to this pikeman guarding the cave, and he is clearly blind and therefore cannot see this awful disguise, so he sends us up the path and tells us to report to the front gate. Oh, this is magnificent. More light bridges, combining natural stone steps and the actual red light itself. A giant castle in the background. It's a shame that this area takes almost 50 hours of gameplay to reach. The environments of this game are truly being wasted, locked so far in. Now the plot takes another random turn. We have to talk to this baker, and we demand the cake. What? How do we know there was a cake? How do we know to demand it from this person? Why is the baker just standing at the front gate? Why are you forcing this plot, game? Well, anyway, it seems that the cake for the wedding has been taken by robbers, and the scriptwriters decided that there was no way we could enter the castle without the cake, because otherwise the wedding will be ruined, and we want the wedding to be ruined. This is good for us. Why don't you just let me in? Anyway, you know what? Fine. Let's go and get the cake back. The disguise was clearly pointless because it isn't relevant because we still need to go and get the cake anyway. You know what? This cake better be a major story point, or this is just needless content padding. This quest leads us to the field outside of town. There's a skirmish happening between the Red Army and the robbers, so we get involved and show our new allegiance by killing 10 robbers, then research the cake box by the attacked cart, and it's empty. Thankfully, this dying red soldier can tell us the cake was taken by a notorious gang of thieves and we should search their hideout. Ah yes, the cake bandits, I've heard of them. So we go and meet this Red Army scout who's watching the evil cake-stealing bandits and says, oh, there's too many of them. We should place some traps around first to thin their numbers, and honestly mate, I could probably kill the whole camp, but okay, you are the boss. Placing the traps just means interacting with these dome-shaped piles of rubble, and then when they are all armed, just luring bandits to walk over them. I like how when they're trapped, they just casually stand there all calm and quiet, like they're thinking, oh no, my cake napping days are clearly over. Report to the scout, we've thinned the robbing herd, and he tells us to go and kill the bandit leader and steal the cake back, so off we go. Before we can take on the leader, we have to kill 10 regular bandits, because obviously you need 10 bandit stamps on your bandit killing card to be allowed access to the boss. Killing them is pretty easy, because remember, my damage over time is also an AoE, meaning I can gather up a horde and kill them all with one attack. The bandit leader is upstairs in this hut and is just a big bandit. Seriously, it's a regular bandit model scaled up. Is the bandit hierarchy based on height? Do the tallest bandits become promoted to the leader? We find the cake. It's in the neatly tied up box that looks out of place, but before I leave the bandit hideout, quick question. Why is there a skateboard? Where did this come from? Where do they ride it? Does the bandit leader relax between cake raids by doing some sweet kickflips or grinding down the rail outside? Report this to the Red Scout and he tells us to follow him back to the castle so we can deliver the cake to the wedding. The main difficulty with this quest is the game crashing and having to wait 15 minutes for a realm restart. I will give Drago Entertainment props for this though. They have been pretty quick on the restarts recently and people are finding the servers in general quite stable. Back in the game, the Scout is clearly not a fan of walking and chooses to glide everywhere. He is not the first NPC to do this. Maybe he's related to the gliding child from earlier, or maybe this is just a totally normal way to travel when you're on 8 squared. Chat to the pikeman in the cave, let him know we have the wedding cake, and he sends us through the secret entrance into the castle. Ooh, look through the spooky looking dark cave, wonder what the Red Castle is like. The Red Castle is suitably gothic and ornate with lots of blacks and reds, and Orlando's here. Quick question, Orlando, how did you manage to get in? Did you go through the heavily guarded front entrance or through the cave behind us? How are you here without the magic of the wedding cake? So we put the cake on the table and wow, it's not even a solid cake, it's just light and pixels. I'd be disappointed if I got this cake. Orlando tells us the wedding is almost over and the chapel is shielded by 3 shield generators, so we need to destroy these to get in. He explains he knows this because of, and I quote, science fiction stuff. Now, destroying these generators isn't challenging. They're all in side rooms just off from the main chapel hallway, but here I discover something most players will likely overlook, and that is the ceiling. If you look up in these shield generator rooms, the ceiling isn't there. You can see the beams and the structure of the castle proper. And there's a thunderstorm going on, so flashes of lightning illuminate the complex roofing structure and the ramparts and the buttresses. And looking directly up shows this endless blue void swirl of nothingness. This is an incredibly striking image. The distance, the lighting, the scale, the void, it's gorgeous. And almost no one will ever see it. With all these shield generators broken, we can charge into the chapel and stop the wedding. Cue the cutscene. Why, in every cutscene, am I being punched or hit? You'd think I'd have learned to dodge out the way by now. And then, quick question before we get into this whole wedding crashing thing. What the hell is this? Behind the altar, emerging from the black nothing of this flat wall, is this absolutely horrific monstrosity. Is this a Neo Grail thing? Is this the monster, the spy? Is it a trapped soul? It's got stubbed fingers tipped in nuts and bolts. A tortured scream frozen on its face and blue light shooting laser beam style from its eyes. This is the stuff of nightmares and I love it. Once I manage to pull myself away from the creature, Orlando says the newlyweds are running away and we need to give chase. So we do, and we fight through multiple waves of enemies while chasing them. 3 waves to be exact. I also love how the Red Queen's dress is absolutely solid and sticks straight up even while running away. You know some poor castle worker spent weeks starching that thing to get it to stay like that. The outside scenery of the Red Castle is also beautiful. I wish I could stay here a bit longer. It's a shame this is only a short chase sequence instead of a full-on level. Finally, we arrive at the boss room. The Dark Army King is ready to fight, but the Neo Grail monster is also here and we can't fight both at the same time, so we split up. Orlando takes the monster and I fight the king. And we are treated to this lovely set piece, with Orlando and the monster fighting on the light bridge in the distance, while we fight the Dark Army King in the arena hemmed in with red light pillars. While fighting him, the king sometimes gains an invulnerability shield while summoning some waves of enemies. I think he summons 3, and before we're able to deal the killing blow, he escapes by teleporting to somewhere else in Otherland. So we run outside the boss room and god, this area is just so ambient. A thunderstorm in the distance, flashes of lightning lighting up the imposing fortress. The skybox for this area is a surreal work of art. We meet up with the admins below and explain the Dark Army King has escaped, and she says we need to talk about this but not here. So we return to the Lambda Mall and then we head back to Ixabos' apartment, which now has music. Dance music. So because I am a middle-class white English guy, if there's one thing I know how to do, it's dance. So I spend some time being a slave to the rhythm, throwing shapes in the discotheque, as the kids say, getting down. I am even tempted to throw my hands in the air to visualize the reality that I do not care. Dancing time over, back to serious Otherland stuff. The admins explain the situation seems pretty dire. The Dark Army King has escaped and they've tracked him to Five Isle. But we can't follow him because all connections to Five Isle simulation are now being blocked. Clearly the guy didn't want to be tracked, but there is one possibility, one route that's not yet blocked. Orlando's apartment contains several backdoor entrances to all the important simulations. So if we can get to Orlando's place, we can hack into any simulation. But getting to Orlando's place won't be easy because it is connected to the Otherland network, but in a very strange way. We'd need to access it through a very specific and powerful door, and the only door local and able to do this is a door inside Mr. J's club. And getting into that club, according to Fred, is insanely hard. This is the same club that I walked into a few episodes back. Remember the one with all the club rooms around the edge and the big central oriental style meeting room? But no, apparently this is insanely hard to access now because of plot reasons. Fred has a plan though. She has a contact inside the Irish pub, so she gives us a very rare upgrade chip and tells us to give that to the bartender in exchange for a Mr. J's club pass. While running through the Lambda Mall to get to the O'Reilly's pub, I actually bump into some other players. Oh, the numbers for this game, guys, the Steam player charts. It shows the player base is around 14 to 15 people. The most active it's been in 5 years. If we get 4 or 5 more people, we're going to be able to get a 10 versus 10 battleground going on, and I don't think this game has ever seen one of those. So we head inside the Irish pub and it is just awesome. It's such a nicely designed environment. This is gorgeous dressing. It's laid out perfectly. I've been in pubs like this. All the patrons are from all the various simulations. They're all wearing different armors or costumes. You've got simuloids drinking with White Army soldiers, Red Army soldiers discussing things with hackers, Water Village and Fire Isle people all chatting. This is just a really nice, busy feeling place. We find the bartender. Hello there. And we offer to trade the rare upgrade chip for a club pass, and she says, why don't we get to know each other? Oh, absolutely. You know, after my adventures, I could tell you a tale or two. Over a drink, maybe order dinner. Let's do this, actually. Good idea. I think I'd love to get to know you. And then she instantly follows this with, only joking. Oh, wow. Ouch. That brought back some long repressed memories of rejection, so I'll try not to cry and we'll carry on. The bartender does have a club pass but wants a favour first. Of course she does. We need to pick up some bar supplies from the hacker shop. She ordered some stuff and it's not arrived. But before we leave, she insists we drink something as a trust bond. Wow, you don't need to get me drunk, bartender. I already said yes to a date before you rejected me. I don't know what the point of drinking this is. I've already said yes to doing the quest. I think this is a quest marker system, like the developers needed this interaction to happen mechanically for the quest to actually continue. So we head off to the hacker shop, but there is one more issue. Shadow Proxy says the Irish pub supplies have been confiscated. The smugglers carrying them got ambushed by another gang and are being held captive somewhere. But if we rescue them, we can have the shipment. Oh my god, fine. Why does nothing go right in this place? Off we go. We meet up with Shadow Proxy again, close to the kidnapper's base, and now a graphics issue. I've removed my Red Army disguise, so the graphical override should have ended, but it hasn't. My shoulder pads are still just army style. I try messing with the settings, even equipping and unequipping some other shoulder pads, but nothing. No matter what I do, this is how my shoulder pads look. I guess I'm going to have to learn to live with this until it fixes itself. So I go into the shop. This is where the quest is telling me to go to find the supplies and the kidnapped hackers. And nothing. The quest says kill some guards, but there's no guards. There's no hackers, there's no supplies, there's no nothing. So I run all around the edge of the building. Maybe there's a stairwell or a ramp up or down. No, nothing. I even drop the quest and restart. Still nothing. The shop is empty. I do see this very faint image of a guard outside trying to spawn, but mostly nothing. This is not the right place to be. I spend about 15 minutes and then I only pass this quest through sheer luck because another player, Heseth, happens to be doing it at the same time and they find the solution and I follow them. This wall is fake. It's got no collision. You just have to run through it to find a hidden room and ramp down to the lab. Oh, good lord, this would have taken me ages to figure out by myself. The other shop used clever physics to mask the hidden room, but you could see the opening when you looked. This is just straight up hidden. You would not know to do this. No other part of the game has used invisible wall. Down in the hidden lab, we get to killing 4 guards and rescuing 3 trapped hackers, but now a strange design choice comes to light, one that really shows the original dev team understood single-player games but not MMOs. The quest-specific requirements in the world, like killing guards or freeing captive people, are all interactable objects and they all exist in a shared public overworld, meaning I have to wait for the guards I need to kill to respawn and then wait for the captive prisoners to reload as well. Now this takes a while, because Heseth is also doing this quest, and this is only 2 people doing it. Imagine 10 or 20 people trying to do this quest at the same time. It would take ages because respawn times are long. Private quests using public shared assets is something we agreed to stop doing back in the late 2000s. This needs to be changed. We grab the stolen delivery and bring it back to O'Reilly's pub. There's an actual entrance to the pub in the upper bad sector where we are. I like this. It shows how the Lambda Mall and the upper bad sector are still connected. Hand the package over to the bartender and we get the VIP pass to Mr. J's. So back to Frederick's. We let Fred know we've got the pass and she explains that Mr. J's is a place for the rich and powerful, those with connections, and because of this there are doorways and portals there with access to all of the Otherland network, including Orlando's apartment, provided we hack in properly. The hack is pretty simple. We need to talk to this guard while Fred hacks, and the guard quotes some lines from Alice in Wonderland and then walks off, as guards are known to do. In we go and, well, this is Orlando's apartment. Pretty normal. It's got all the standard comforts of home. It's got a nice bed, some posters on the wall, and oh yeah, it's got the digitally dissolving void of nothingness above us, the pulsating tunnel of time and space siphoning off into the infinite endless abyss. It's got 3 corridors of twisted, hacked reality that link the room to 5 Isle, the Lambda Mall, and 8 Squared. And it's got a pool table, so yeah, all the standard things a bachelor pad would usually have. Fred tells me to take the hidden backdoor entrance to 5 Isle and we can continue our pursuit of the Dark Army King, and I will, but man, first I want to explore this apartment. This is amazing. Honestly, this is so well designed, so normal from one direction and so surreal from another. God, this is a beautiful room. Playing Otherland is a visual treat, and yet it makes me feel so sad that this environmental design will one day maybe cease to exist. Look, the guy's got posters, he's got a sweet gaming or movie setup, a nice little study desk. He seems like the kind of person I'd probably get on with really well. Anyway, onwards to 5 Isle. We run through the apartment and take the portal to Aerodromia and arrive at the Monastery. Oh good lord, this is stunning! It's a floating air village with giant boulders just levitating around, light tubes connecting the gleaming walkways as the sky just drops out beneath us. This is such a brilliantly laid out place. I spend more time just admiring the view and then we get back to questing. We're told to go and find the leader of the monastery, Lian Shen, and just being in this place honestly is great. Otherland has knocked it out the park with every environment so far, and these aren't even all it has to offer. There are more places we haven't seen yet. We run up the steps on this little tower to an open-fronted room and meet Shen. The guy's got shoulder pads that would put World of Warcraft to shame and a problem with some refugees. He says the air village, that's where we are now, is accepting refugees from other simulations, 8 Squared soldiers and Water Isle merchants, but they are quickly running out of food, so I should go to the gardens and ask about the food shipments. The gardens are over the other side of the bridge cluster, through this room where guards bow at me and into this lovely oriental outside space. Have a chat with this NPC and seems the food shipment was meant to be coming from the close by Wood Isle but never arrived, so we are sent to investigate. We let Orlando know the situation and he tells us to follow him because he knows where the Wood Isle ship will depart from. The ship dock is quite a way outside the Air Village Central Plaza and needs us to take a light tube down to this huge gnarled tree and then run along this twisted mass of roots and vines. Another brilliant bit of scenery design. Eventually we reach the airship master and off we go. Welcome to the Wood Isle. Similar to the jungle but with fewer giant ladybirds, the Wood Isle village is great. Trees rising high into the sky, sunlight filtering down, everything from steps to carts to huts made out of lashed together timber. We discover the camp we've arrived at is wounded and we should ask around to see what happened. This guard says they've been evacuating people from the mainland of Wood Isle to the monastery due to demon attacks. And if we need food supplies, we should gather up the 15 boxes we need ourselves, so we get to doing that. It's more gathering, but the ambience of this place makes it worth it. It's raining, and just like 8 Squared having ice on the screen, we now get little raindrops on the screen. Not enough to be annoying, but just enough to add a real sense of place and a sense of actual weather. There's even a thunderstorm going on as we collect these boxes, and brief flashes of lightning illuminate the whole camp in brilliant gamma bursts. With all the food gathered and sent back, we now decide to help the Wood Isle. They are clearly in trouble. This NPC, Zhao, tells us to go east and find Orlando. He has run off ahead of us, so we go east, and it leads to this vine bridge spanning a giant chasm across the sky. This is a delight to cross. The ambient music, the howling wind, the particles blowing across the screen, the gnarled and twisted surface of the tree vines. A stark contrast to the perfect flat bridge of the monastery. God, this is a beautiful video game forest. Catch up with Orlando and he explains the Wood Isle is at war with something, likely the Neo Grail, so we go to investigate. There are 2 important NPCs here with quests. Ting Fang says they were attacked by demons and we need to collect 10 resources that they lost. And Ren C says contact with the next camp is cut off, so we should fight through the demon blockade and check on them. The missing caravan and the missing supplies aren't hard to find. They are literally down the hill. You can see them from the top, so we get collecting because it's something I've proved to be quite good at, and now the demon blockade is supposed to be here, but not really much happening. I'm in the right place, the quest just hasn't triggered. I hand in the supplies and restart the demon blockade quest, see if it helps, and it does. Some demons spawn in. Now is it me, or are the demons a bit pixelated? Everything else on the screen looks fine, but the rendering of the demons just seems a little less sharp. If this is an effect, then great, but I'm guessing this is just a graphical bug. I let them know the blockade is dealt with, and then we lead the trapped villagers home to their own camp. They follow me down the path, and when we are halfway, we are ambushed by demons. I mean, at least it's not shaders, but I cleared the blockade. The whole point of clearing the blockade was so I could escort the villagers back without being ambushed. What was the point of the previous step in this quest if we were going to be attacked anyway? We let the camp know that we are here, and they're all like, sweet, you know what could really help us? Killing some demons. So we go and do that. 3 waves as usual, but then, a big demon spawns, a demon commander. And my damage over time attack is on cooldown, so we are forced to fight for a bit, and it's actually really good. It's quite fun, but then my damage over time cools down and goes ready, and combat goes back to being trivial. Next up, the villagers want me to close off a cave. The demons seem to be spawning there, and it would be super sweet if that wasn't happening anymore, so we head down the path and plant some bombs around the cave. Gotta say, this feels less like a cave and more like a cove. There's no real ceiling and it's not enclosed. I can't see anyone describing this as a cave. The bombs are easy enough to plant though, and it's still a lovely environment. With the cove all bombed up, we move on to the next camp at the Wood Isle. The camp leader now wants us to go and grab Orlando and bring him back so we can form a plan. It does seem that since I found Orlando, all I'm doing is grabbing him and bringing him back to wherever we actually need him. Orlando is chilling outside the camp and says he has felt a great disturbance in the valley, as if millions of programs suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. So we lead him back to the camp and set about planning some kind of anti-demon strategy. Abby's, that's the camp leader, says our previous plan of blowing up the cave is stupid because it's a vital movement route for people and supplies of the whole isle, so instead we should just go and kill the demons head on. I really like this story beat, because as a player you assume everything you do is always right, so it's nice to see an NPC look at another NPC's plan and say, no, that's not going to work, let's do something else. It's not often in games you see that, and it adds a real sense of actual design and decision making going on in these NPCs' heads, a bit of humanity that they can be wrong. Fighting the demons, however, will need a small army. Thankfully this village has an abundance of blacksmiths, so we collect a load of swords from all around the camp and get ready to hand them out. Another small issue, remember how my shoulder pad disguise is overriding my model despite the fact I've unequipped the disguise and switched shoulder pads? Well, the same has happened to my trousers and my shoes. No matter how I mix this around, equipping, unequipping, turning disguises on or off, I still look like I'm wearing my red army soldier trousers and awful shoes. I can't seem to get my actual armour look to return. and I guess I'm going to have to live with this until it fixes itself as well. With the swords collected, I distribute all the weapons among the villagers and let the Elder know we are ready for a demon battle, and now we're sent to scout the northern outpost to see how those guys are doing. Now I know you're probably meant to walk down the path, but if I just follow the quest tracker in a straight line, it takes me over this cliff face. And I'm intrigued to see if we can get stuck, and it seems not. So I guess this means dynamic entry. So I jump down and oh, there is a falling animation. You just need to be falling long enough for it to actually kick in. Good to know. Right, with the warriors armed up and the plan to kill the demon scourge set and ready, let's head off to the cove and see how well this goes. Me, Orlando, and some warriors are gonna kill some demons and hopefully track down the Dark Army King. And we'll see how well that goes next week. Thank you for joining me in episode 9. We are well over halfway by now and probably don't have too many episodes left to go, and I for one am getting pretty excited to see how this crazy adventure is going to end. Thank you to all my supporters on Patreon and Twitch for making my channel possible. If you want your name up there, you can support from £1 a month or come and join us on Twitch most Saturdays. Check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter and Discord, and as always, have a great day.